Hearties, welcome to Art Play. And we're going to make some cardboard dolls out of recycled Amazon boxes or any kind of cardboard you have. You can see here I'm tracing the face with a 2-inch wooden circle, which will become her face eventually. Drawing the body. Going to add some hair, some ears, and then I'm going to cut it out. And that is all there is to the first step. So grab yourself a piece of cardboard and get to creating. So there she is, her body all cut out. And you'll see in a minute I'll take and put a sketch of a face on there just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. Of course, we will be adding lots of paint and blend, blend, blend. My favorite word, my favorite thing to do, blend, blend, blend. Now, step 2, I gessoed the body and then I painted the back black and I painted the hair black. And now you'll see I have a glue gun in hand and there's a painted face. It's from another doll I'm working on. And I randomly just put glue all over her hair in swirls and straight lines, squiggly lines, whatever you want to do. Just put a bunch of it on there. It gives it depth and texture. See, I'm kind of swirling it at that point. And then we're going to paint some more on it eventually. Not much to this step either. So now I'm adding some brown gelato to the side of her neck and up on her neckline. And I'm going to take a dry brush and dip it in some gelato and I'm going to blend. And you'll notice I do circular motions. They tend to wreck your brushes, and when you don't care for them properly, like I don't, you could get in trouble and use lots and lots of brushes. But I do have a secret. If you're having trouble because you haven't cleaned them out properly, if you soak them in some Murphy soap oil, you can actually bring them almost back to life. And I usually stick them in the dishwasher after I do that, so I know they get good and rinsed. I just stick them in the the silverware tray, and let them wash all that Murphy soap oil out for me. So you see I'll keep putting the face back and forth to check how the neckline's looking, and I'm going to add gesso all over the place and do my favorite thing again, blend, blend, blend. So now I'm moving on to the disc, and I'm going to actually add some gesso to it and make sure it dries real well to build some tooth so that the paint really embeds itself into the substrate. Quiet. Sorry, that's the Chihuahuas. And then I'm using a burnt umber watercolor crayon just to kind of lightly sketch the features on. And I didn't film a lot of me doing the face. I know that's what a lot of you have been asking about, but it takes me a very long time to do faces, and I'd never be able to upload it all. I will do just a face video sometime, maybe in stages so that you can see, but it's a really long process. My best advice is just keep going and going until you're happy with it. And the more you blend, and you can add gesso with a dry brush over it. If you look at this one, it's got several layers of gesso over it at this point. And you just keep going, and you see those crayons are building the features and the highlights of the face for me right now. And I will be adding a lot of color. You'll see there she is finished. And I use gelatos mostly for the face. Sometimes I use paints too. I use paints for the eyes and the lips, but I do the gelatos for the cheek and the other highlights. So that might help answer some questions. And you see here I'm sketching her bangs on, darkening her eyebrows a little bit. What I'm using for this, by the way, is a brown Stabilo pencil. My go-tos always, just so you know, are Heavy Body White by Liquitex, Golden's Quinacridone Gold Azul, Stabilo pencils in black, blue, and brown, I have other ones too. I think I have white ones even. I like the big jumbo ones too. Those are great. But I usually tend to go for the smaller ones. And for her hair, I had, once I sketched it, I had used a black gelato, and then I just mixed it with a damp brush. And now you can see I'm actually adding glue to her bangs too, so it gives it some texture. Her eyes were done with, oh goodness, I don't ever remember the name of that paint, but it's here, let me look. The one I used here is Fatalo Green Blue. I don't know if that's how you say it. Fatalo Green Blue. I'm the worst speller in the world. Putting her all together just to see how she's going to look with her face on there. And I'm touching up some places where I ran over a little bit. And I had actually added some quinacridone to her bangs, which is what I was putting on the upper part of her hair earlier. They are a little bit darker, I notice. So I probably should have put another coat. Now this is a pile of girls that I'm working on right now. I'm constantly cutting them out, and I do faces, tons of faces, and just leave them for when I want to start putting them all together. You see, there's just a horde of them, but here she is. There's the one we're working on today. Now this is really interesting. Oh, here's two more I found. The pink ones finished almost. And this, thank you, Sally McNaughton. She sent me a cardboard house, and I'm still working on it. But that was a bunch of stuff I got out of the yard from the storm, and I'm gluing it onto it to make it look woodsy. And then I'm probably going to make a smaller miniature version of a girl and stand her right next to it, maybe with some mushrooms or something cool. All out of cardboard. I love to recycle. So what you saw me put on her body is a wall patch material that's sticky on one side that you can actually buy at the hardware store. And then I just painted it with a orange-red color. And I picked out some stencils, and I'm putting some whites and some flesh tones on the different parts of the stencil. And there you go. So I've given her some depth to it. And I'm a very impatient artist. I cannot stand to wait for drying, so I do use the heat gun or a hairdryer a lot. Then I took another stencil and I stuck it right down the middle, see, and I added some black because I thought I needed some contrast, and because I just happened to have what you see now. I had some tulle in black, and I'm going to take a needle and a thread, and I'm going to quickly gather it, and we're going to glue that to the bottom of the dress. Now, if you have a sewing machine, you might want to go to the sewing machine and gather it, because doing it by hand takes a little bit longer. But frankly, I was too lazy to get up and go in the other room where the sewing machine was. So I just grabbed a needle and thread close by. And now I'm putting the hot glue on the bottom. And I'm going to carefully stick that down. And I'm going to use my handy-dandy, finally spent the money and bought these little rubber fingers. So I stopped burning my fingers all the time because it hurts. And after I get it all glued down, I will take the thread that I gathered and tie it in a knot. You see me doing that right now. Tie the string off and trim it. And her skirt will be nearly completed. All we have to do is decorate. So there we go. There's her little gathered tutu. It's not exactly a tutu because her dress is kind of long. Ooh, I think I have to make a ballerina next now that I say that, so I can make nice tights. So now we're going to dress it up, and I'm going to add some black ribbon. And again, I just use glue gun. I know a lot of people use Aleene's tacky glue, or you can use matte medium. Doesn't work so well to glue flat things, yes, but to glue the materials and stuff, you want to use Aleene's, or you can even use Elmer's glue because you can get a bead of glue, but then you're waiting forever for it to dry, and as I said, I'm impatient. So if you just take your time and use the glue gun and get the rubber tip fingers, it makes it a lot quicker. So I added a little flower there at the bottom. And now you hear the other dog. That's Ruby. Ruby is a pain. She's a sweetheart, but she's a pain. She's deaf, and so she doesn't realize how loud she is. Then I just took a marker and I added a little more to the neckline to make it look darker. You can actually put a bead of ribbon or string or twine or jewels or whatever, but in this case I wanted to put the bow, and I figured all I needed to do was just put a little mark. And now I'm gonna pick out some buttons. I tend to do things in threes, so there'll be 3 buttons going on here, and I'm gonna do similar buttons but different sizes, and I'll just glue gun those down. But there is one thing, because these are buttons that have the little tab on the back to sew it, I'm gonna you see me here, I'm gonna cut those off so that they lay flat, and then you can put a generous amount of glue and then put her face on, and look at how cute. So it looks like I'm going to glue gun the face on now, and I'm not sure I got that on camera. I did not, but put lots of glue on the back. I cover quite a bit on the back because you don't want it to come off, and then you just stick it down, and there she goes. And now you can meet Renate, and I'm signing it, naming her, dating it, and she'll be ready to send somebody. Now there are a number of things that you can do with these girls. You can put a clothespin on them so that they clip onto something. You can put a magnet on them so they go on the fridge. You can put a piece of cardboard on the back with a glue gun so she stands up, or you can put a string on her. Renate has a magnet. She's sticking on a drawer in my studio there. You see her now? And I think I need to go feed the deaf girl. So cheerio.